Chloe had always been arrogant and bossy toward her fiancé, acting as if she owned the world. That was until she dreamed that she was actually the wicked supporting character in a novel, whose terrible personality led to a broken engagement and a completely miserable end. Determined to turn over a new leaf, right before her fiancé was supposed to buy her the latest designer handbag, she hastily told him, "It's fine. It's fine. You don't need to buy it." However, his face suddenly darkened as he asked, "What do you mean I don't need to buy it? Do you not want me buying things for you? Or do you want some other guy to buy them for you?" Chloe was utterly speechless. Carter was preparing for a business trip to Paris. Chloe specifically instructed him, "Carter, I even set the picture of that handbag as your phone's wallpaper. Make sure you remember to buy it for me." That bag was the newest release from her absolute favorite luxury brand, just launched overseas and not yet available in New York. He just gave a brief yeah. Feeling that he was being too dismissive, Chloe wasn't satisfied and pretended to get angry. "Are you even seriously listening to me?" "I heard you," Carter sighed in surrender. "I'll buy it for you." "Hey!" Only then did Chloe break into a satisfied smile. "Have a safe trip and come back soon." Hey guys, ever taken your partner for granted? Today we follow Chloe, a spoiled girl who gets a brutal wake-up call and completely flips the script to save her relationship. Let's dive in. He was away for about half a month. During those 2 weeks, Chloe was full of anticipation. She constantly bombarded him with texts. "Carter, when are you coming back? I miss you so much. Remember to bring my bag." Heh. After waiting half an hour with no reply, she was furious and sent a barrage of angry emojis. "Why are you replying so slowly? Are you busy flirting with some foreign beauties?" Over 10 minutes later, Carter finally replied, his tone full of helplessness. "Chloe, it's 4 a.m. over here." She had almost forgotten actually. She had completely forgotten about the time difference. She asked him, "Then why are you awake right now?" Carter replied, "I was woken up by your texts." Finding a loophole, Chloe quickly struck first to gain the upper hand. "That's a you problem. Why didn't you put your phone on silent? Anyway, go back to sleep. I'm going to keep sending you messages, so make sure it's on silent." "Fine," Carter agreed. As Chloe was typing furiously on her end, her best friend Mia leaned in, glancing at her chat history with Carter. Mia let out an impressed sigh. "Tisk, tisk. With your temper, it's a miracle Carter can put up with you." Chloe scoffed in defiance. Countless people had fought for the chance to marry her. Carter should be secretly rejoicing that he managed to get engaged to her. She was the precious daughter of the wealthy Vance family, rich and beautiful. If one had to pinpoint a flaw, it would be her less than stellar temper. But despite her spoiled princess attitude, suitors wanting a marriage alliance with her still lined up endlessly, sending mountains of gifts. Her parents had once handed her a tablet, telling her to choose. "Chloe, sweetie, take a look and see if anyone catches your eye." She scrolled through the tablet, stopping when she reached Carter. "I think Carter is a great choice too," her mother said, looking at his photo and immediately making a cheerful suggestion. "Carter is steady and reliable, and he's extremely handsome. Why don't you choose him?" He truly was the most handsome, wealthiest, and overall best candidate among them. She thought about how quiet he had always been in the past, treating her with a somewhat indifferent attitude. Driven by some inexplicable impulse, she pointed at his movie star-like face on the screen. "All right, I choose him." The Vance and Sterling families were joined in marriage, but the person least thrilled about it was probably Carter. For the sake of his family's interests, he was forced to endure her spoiled temperament. She was arrogant and acted like the world revolved around her, yet he tolerated it all. Sometimes, even Chloe couldn't help but marvel at it. Someone with his level of restraint was bound to succeed at anything he did. No wonder the Sterling Group had been flourishing ever since he took over. Carter was the quintessential, tall, rich, and handsome CEO, and he was never short of admirers around him. Someone had once sent Chloe a message. "Chloe, with a personality like yours, how long do you think Carter can tolerate you?" The moment she saw the text, her anger flared up, and she stormed straight into Carter's study. Carter. He was looking at a PowerPoint presentation at the time. With one hand, she slammed his laptop shut and shoved her phone screen right into his face. "Tell me yourself. How long can you tolerate me?" Carter glanced at the message and frowned. He jotted down the phone number. "Let me handle it," he said. "You'd better hurry up," Chloe threatened in a fit of rage. "If you don't sort this out, we're calling off the engagement. That way, you won't have to suffer through my temper anymore." Carter's frown deepened. Don't say things out of anger. He wanted to say something else, but she refused to listen. She turned on her heel and stormed out, slamming the study door with a deafening bang. The next evening, after Carter came home, he handed her a detailed report covering the entire incident from cause to resolution. She is the daughter of one of my father's friends, Carter reported very seriously. Her dad asked my dad to get her an internship at the Sterling Group, so I arranged a position for her. I fired her today. She will never be allowed into the company again. I also spoke with her father about this, and he cut off her allowance for 3 months. He then forwarded her a 5-minute video. I had her record an apology video. See if this is acceptable. If you're not satisfied, I'll make her re-record it. The thumbnail of the video showed a girl crying hysterically. Chloe didn't even bother clicking on it and just deleted the message entirely. Then, completely missing the main point, she asked, "Where did you get this video? Are you friends with her on social media?" "No," Carter replied, showing her his chat history. "I asked her father to send it to me." Chloe was quite satisfied with this answer. "All right, we'll leave it at that for this time." But then she dragged out her words, "But there better not be a next time. If something like this happens again, the engagement is off." Carter replied very quickly, "It won't." The old Chloe was extremely confident. How long could Carter put up with her temper? If he wanted to tolerate it, let him. That was until she had a nightmare, a huge nightmare, a massive, absolute nightmare. In the dream, she was a wicked supporting character in a novel. Spoiled since childhood, she had an arrogant and bossy personality. Even though she had a deeply devoted fiancé who was the supporting male lead, she treated him as if he were invisible and was madly obsessed with the male lead. She repeatedly sabotaged the relationship between the male and female leads, going further and further down a twisted path. In the end, she reaped what she sowed, abandoned by her family, friends, and fiancé all at once. While wandering absent-mindedly on the street, she was sent flying by a massive truck. Chloe woke up in sheer terror. The air conditioning in her room was set to a very low temperature, but her forehead and back were drenched in sweat. She sat in a daze for a long time before coming back to her senses, unable to help but wonder, was that really just a dream? It felt far too real. The utter despair of being abandoned by everyone, the sheer agony right before the truck hit Harriet, was all too realistic. Was this a warning? Was this dream meant to be her wake-up call? No, she absolutely would not allow such a fate to befall her. To hell with the male lead, he could get lost. As for her fiancé in the dream, in order to break off her engagement with Carter, she had acted out even more, constantly testing his limits. Finally, with a freezing cold look in his eyes, Carter had told her, "Chloe, I am utterly disappointed in you." Carter had never looked at her like that before. Thinking of his icy gaze in the dream, her heart felt as if it were being squeezed so hard she couldn't breathe. She didn't know why she felt so heartbroken, but one thing was crystal clear. Carter, looking at her with those eyes in the dream, she couldn't bear it. After waking up from that nightmare, Chloe couldn't fall back asleep. She tossed and turned in bed for hours, and with huge dark circles under her eyes, she finally made up her mind. She had to turn over a new leaf. She had to fix this rotten temper of hers. She couldn't let Carter be disappointed in her. She had to save her own life. It was easier said than done. Originally, she would spend time every day, sending Carter all sorts of pointless, trashy text messages, completely ignoring whether he was busy or sleeping. If he replied even a little slowly, she would throw a fit. But today, she tried her best to restrain her hands from texting him. Even though her heart was itching, and her fingers were itching too, she comforted herself. "It's fine. It's fine. Carter will be back in a few days anyway." She held out like this until the evening, thinking to herself, "It's been almost a whole day. Sending 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5 messages should be fine, right?" This couldn't possibly be considered annoying, could it? Just as she finally lost her battle with temptation and was about to text him, a message from Carter suddenly popped up. She was a little surprised, because most of the time, she was the one actively bombarding him with long, harassing messages. The frequency of his texts was usually very low, and his word count was even lower. Carter's text read, "Is your phone broken?" Chloe sent back, "No, it's not." Carter didn't reply again. Although his out-of-the-blue message was very weird, she didn't mind it much. Instinctively, she started firing off several messages in a row to him. By the time she realized her texts had filled up the entire screen once more, she began to regret it. "Chloe, why couldn't you just hold back?" It took Carter nearly 20 minutes to reply to her. "Sorry, an unexpected emergency meeting just came up. I couldn't reply to you in time." If this were the past, she would have started making a mountain out of a molehill right then and there. But now, eager to show a rare display of understanding, she texted back, "Oh, it's fine. Just reply whenever you're free." Carter went silent again. The considerate persona she had just debuted immediately crashed and burned. She screamed inwardly, "What's the meaning of this, Carter? Another emergency meeting, right? Why is it that every time you talk to me, there's an emergency meeting?" However, Carter immediately initiated a video call. Before she could even wipe the annoyed look off her face, she hit accept. "What is it?" she asked. On the other end of the line, Carter seemed to be observing her seriously. "Are you home alone?" "Yeah. Why?" She wondered why he was asking that out of nowhere. But Carter continued to look earnestly at her, and even at the space behind her, as if to confirm that she was indeed home alone. Only then did he say, "If you have something to say, just say it. Unless there's a special circumstance, I will reply right away as soon as I see it." "Humph, easy for you to say," she thought, not entirely believing him. "I don't feel like chatting anymore. You are dismissed." Not waiting for Carter to add anything else, she hung up the video call. Right after hanging up, she suddenly realized something was wrong. Wait, wasn't she planning to turn over a new leaf? Why had she started acting up? Because of the relationship between their families, Chloe had actually known Carter from a very early age. However, it had just stayed at the level of recognizing each other. They weren't considered close. That was until their senior year of high school, when the school held a coming-of-age prom. At the time, she absolutely despised a girl named Kelsey. Kelsey fought and competed with her over everything. Naturally, this prom became a battlefield for them to compare and see who was superior, and the focal point of that competition was naturally the prom date. At that moment, the first name that popped into her head was none other than Carter. So, she blocked his path right as school let out. Chloe got straight to the point. "Carter, be my prom date." He looked at her and said, "We probably aren't exactly close." A look of confusion appeared on Carter's face. "Why?" "The reason is very simple," Chloe stated self-righteously. "I'm the prettiest girl in school, and you're the most handsome guy in school. If we go as dates, wouldn't it be absolutely earth-shattering?" Hearing her words, Carter remained silent for a few seconds before saying, "But I don't know how to dance." That was supposed to be a polite rejection, but Chloe completely missed the hint. She replied lightning fast, "Then you need to hurry up and learn." "Carter, I'm getting impatient. Are you doing it or not?" Carter looked down at her, seemingly thinking it over seriously. A few seconds later, he said, "All right." "Really?" Chloe's eyes lit up, but then she remembered something and strictly instructed him, "You better learn how to dance properly. If Kelsey invites you later, you have to reject her without hesitation. When you turn her down, you have to tell her that you've already asked the prettiest girl in school, got it?" Carter replied, "I probably won't be able to say that." "Why?" she asked. His expression was calm. "Because I already rejected her. She probably won't ask me again." "She already came looking for you?" Chloe asked. He nodded. "Good job!" Chloe gave him a thumbs up. "Your taste is extremely, extremely good." Carter let out a soft chuckle. Chloe had originally thought this was a sure win. However, during their first waltz practice, they had absolutely zero chemistry. Carter's progress was slow, his limbs were clumsy, and he even stepped on her feet twice. Chloe looked at her newly bought dance shoes, utterly speechless. "Aren't you ranked first in the entire grade? Why are you so slow at learning this?" "Sorry, I'll buy you another pair to make up for it." Carter apologized in a low voice. "Let me practice some more." During their second practice, he didn't step on her feet anymore, but his movements were still stiff. Chloe was extremely dissatisfied. "Carter, if you keep being like this, how are we supposed to outshine the whole school? If you still can't learn it, I'm going to find another prom date." Carter replied extremely quickly, "I'll definitely get it next time." By their third practice, Carter indeed kept his promise, and they completed a flawless waltz. Astonished, Chloe said, "Carter, you're really amazing." He replied, "You're very amazing too." Chloe didn't bother being modest. "Of course I am." She thought they had a guaranteed win. However, right before the day of the prom, while walking down the stairs, she wasn't paying attention and sprained her ankle. After receiving a mocking text from Kelsey, Chloe was so furious she gritted her teeth, locked herself in her room, and completely lost her appetite. When a knock sounded on the door, she assumed it was her parents and mumbled, "You guys go ahead and eat, I'm not hungry." Her mother's voice rang out first. "Chloe, Carter is here to see you." Then came Carter's voice, "Chloe, it's me. What are you doing here?" She walked to the door but didn't open it. "Didn't I already text you? I sprained my ankle and can't dance anymore. Go find another prom date." "Really?" Carter asked. "Then I'll go find someone else." In her heart, Chloe screamed, "Carter, you bastard. How dare you agree to find someone else that quickly? You jerk." But verbally, she remained stubborn. "Of course it's true." "Just go." Carter said, "All right, then I'll go ask Kelsey." With a whoosh, Chloe yanked her bedroom door wide open. Chloe glared at him. "Don't you dare." "I wouldn't dare." Taking the opportunity, Carter stepped inside. "Are you really not going to the prom anymore? Didn't you want to outshine the whole school?" Chloe hopped on one foot over to her desk and sat down. Pointing at her swollen red ankle, she said, "How am I supposed to outshine anyone like this? If I go, I'll definitely be laughed at." Carter replied, "No, you won't." She looked up at him in confusion. He lowered his eyes, his gaze serious. "Didn't you say it yourself? You're the prettiest girl in school, and I'm the most handsome guy. As long as we show up together, we can outshine the entire venue." His voice was calm, but Chloe felt as if someone were beating gongs and drums right next to her ears, making her head spin. She looked at him and said, "You're right." Just as he had said, on the day of the prom, the moment he supported her as she limped into the venue, all eyes and lights fell upon them. Seeing Kelsey gritting her teeth in anger, Chloe knew she had won. From then on, Chloe felt that the relationship between her and Carter had gotten a little closer, but only a little bit. Occasionally, she would make him buy Napoleon cake from a nearby bakery, which required him to wait in line for half an hour. Or she would forcefully commandeer his precious study time to help her beat video game levels she couldn't get past. Carter never refused, though he didn't seem particularly thrilled about it either. His words were as precious as gold, but the good thing was that he was extremely reliable. In the past, she would often sneak glances at his side profile, while he used his top-of-the-grade brain to seriously help her play puzzle games, secretly thinking to herself, "I wonder who will end up marrying this block of wood in the future." She never expected that person would be her. Because Carter was always reliable, before he returned from his business trip, Chloe restrained herself a lot. She didn't rush him to reply to texts, nor did she drop hints about her handbag anymore. She convinced herself, "It's fine. Carter is so smart, even if I don't remind him, he'll definitely remember my bag." However, she miscalculated. He didn't bring the bag back for her. On the day Carter returned, she waited anxiously at home. If she could, she would have texted him every 10 minutes asking, "Are you here yet? Are you here yet?" But she managed to hold back. When she heard the sound of the door opening downstairs, she had been resting in bed. Forgetting her phone and not even bothering to put on her shoes, she flew down from the second floor. "Carter," she shouted, seeing him pulling his suitcase through the door. "You're finally back!" "Yeah." He looked at her bare feet. "Why aren't you wearing slippers?" "I forgot," Chloe said. "The moment I heard you, I ran straight down." He went to the shoe cabinet, took out a pair of slippers, and bent down to put them on her feet. "The floor is cold. Don't catch a cold." "Yes, sir," Chloe replied cheerfully. She then extended both hands, palms facing up, looking at him with eyes full of anticipation. He was so smart, he would definitely understand what she meant. But Carter's expression suddenly became a bit stiff. Chloe was a bit confused. She swept her gaze over his luggage. The bags he was carrying were all small ones, looking like pastries or small gifts. Then that handbag must be inside the suitcase. Chloe slipped past Carter, lunged straight for the suitcase, and laid it flat on the floor. Carter's somewhat strained voice sounded from behind her. "Chloe, listen to me." After using her birthday to unlock the 4-digit passcode, Chloe threw the suitcase wide open. Looking at the pile of things inside, there was no sign of her bag. She looked again and again in disbelief, then looked up at Carter. "Where is my bag?" It was rare to see a guilty expression on Carter's face. He grabbed her arm and pulled her up from the floor. "Stand up first. The floor is cold." She was pulled down by him to sit on the sofa, her expression slightly sulky, as if saying, "I'll just sit here and see how you explain yourself." "I was really too busy the past few days and couldn't find the time," he said, half kneeling to look her in the eye. "It wasn't until the very last day that I had time to go to the store, but the staff told me the last one had just been bought the day before. I asked the staff to check the inventory in other cities. You should receive it in about 2 days. He pursed his lips, looking at her reaction with a hint of nervousness. To be honest, Chloe was indeed a little disappointed. After all, she had been looking forward to it for so long. Her expectations had been too high, so the disappointment was equally immense. She could have easily found someone to buy that bag for her. Making him buy it was just her way of using the bag to prove that he cared about her. If it were the old her, she definitely would have thrown a massive tantrum and ignored him for 2 days. But now, thinking about that dream, she tried her best to suppress the fury that was about to erupt. She silently chanted a calming mantra in her head. "Do not get angry. Do not get angry. Do not get angry. It's not worth it. Not worth it. Not worth it." Carter didn't do it on purpose. Not on purpose. Not on purpose. She took a deep breath, put on a fake smile, and uttered 3 words that went completely against her conscience. "Oh, it's fine." Carter froze. She pretended to be magnanimous, waving her hand. "It's fine. It's fine. I don't need it anymore. I'm so mad. I'll just find someone to buy it for me," she thought to herself. She stood up and turned around, intending to head upstairs. However, after taking just 2 steps, her wrist was tightly grabbed. Carter frowned. Why don't you need it anymore? Do you not want things I buy for you? Or did some other guy already buy it for you? Chloe couldn't keep up with Carter's train of thought at all. All she knew was that his mood seemed to have suddenly taken a drastic turn for the worse. The anger she had been trying so hard to suppress instantly flared up again. Seriously? Why is Carter throwing a fit first? He was clearly the one who hadn't kept his word. She had tried her best to be understanding, yet he was the one getting upset and grabbing her wrist so hard it hurt. Carter, you're hurting my arm. Hearing her say that, Carter seemed to snap out of a trance and quickly let go of her arm. He looked at her wrist, which had already turned red in a circle, and hastily apologized. I'm sorry, Chloe, The more she thought about it, the angrier she got. All her so-called affection or good temper was thrown out the window. Not bothering to listen to another word he said, she ran straight upstairs and slammed her bedroom door shut with a loud bang. Carter was such a jerk. Even if her engagement got broken off in the future and she had to sleep on the streets, she would never forgive him. She sulked alone in her room. From outside, Carter's voice came through the door. Don't be mad anymore, it's my fault. His voice sounded a bit hoarse. I've only slept a few hours these past few days. I just got off the plane and haven't adjusted to the jet lag yet. On top of that, I caught a slight cold, so my mind is a bit foggy, and I said the wrong things. He coughed once, sounding like he really had caught a cold. She shooed him away through the door. I don't want to hear it. Stop talking. All right, I'll stop talking, he replied. He coughed again. Then you get some rest early. Good night. He actually left. Chloe lay in bed, feeling unsettled as she thought about the sound of his cough. Carter was certainly infuriating, but he was sick. He was a patient too. Why should she stoop to the level of a sick person? She would see how he behaved tomorrow. If he apologized sincerely enough, she would be the bigger person and let it go. That was what she thought, but when she woke up the next day, there was no sign of him in the house at all. There was only a large bouquet of flowers and a square box placed on the table. Opening it, she saw it was the latest pair of earrings from the brand she usually wore. TSK cheap tricks, she scoffed. But considering that the style of these earrings was exactly what she liked, as long as Carter came back and apologized to her one more time, she would take the opportunity to forgive him. However, she waited and waited at home, but Carter never came back. On her phone, there was only a text message he had sent in the afternoon. I have a social engagement tonight. I'll be home a little late. She didn't reply. Seeing the clock's hands move past 9 with him still not home, she couldn't bring herself to stoop low enough to text him, so she called his assistant, Travis. Travis picked up very quickly. Is Carter still entertaining clients? She demanded rapidly. What time is it already? Did he drink a lot? For someone with a cold, how does he have no self-awareness at all? Travis lowered his voice. Mr. Sterling didn't want me to tell you, but I think I still should. Mr. Sterling isn't entertaining clients. He's running a fever and is currently getting an IV drip at the hospital. She froze. What? She hastily changed her clothes and rushed to the private hospital where he was staying. She found her way to his VIP ward. Travis was standing outside. Seeing her arrive, he bowed slightly in greeting. She told him to head home first, then opened the door to the ward herself. Carter was half lying on the hospital bed, one hand hooked up to an IV drip, with a laptop placed in front of him. It seemed he was still reviewing documents. Hearing the noise, he looked toward the door. Seeing it was her, he looked a bit surprised. Chloe? She was infuriated beyond belief. Walking straight over, she tossed his laptop onto the adjacent sofa. What is wrong with you? She scolded. Travis said you refused to rest properly. You're getting an IV and still working? Are you intentionally trying to stay in the hospital longer so you don't have to go home and see me? How could that be possible? Carter said. I was just afraid you wouldn't want to see me. Close your eyes and get some rest right now, she ordered him. Right this instant, otherwise I really won't want to see you anymore. All right, Carter said, but his eyes kept staring right at her. She pretended to be on the verge of anger. Why are you looking at me? Who sleeps with their eyes open? He asked. Are you going back later? I'm not going back, she said, plunking down onto the sofa. I have to supervise you. What if you start working in secret again? As if having received a satisfactory answer, Carter slowly closed his eyes. Perhaps he was truly exhausted, as very soon after, his breathing became even. He must have fallen asleep. She shifted from the sofa to the chair beside the bed, resting her chin on her hand as she watched him. She thought of that dream. Before, she always felt that her personality was just how it was. If Carter couldn't stand it, she would just find someone else who could. Even if she couldn't find anyone, it didn't matter. She didn't have to worry about food or clothes. What was so bad about being single her whole life? But the moment she thought about having to leave Carter, She felt terrible. Carter, actually, my temper isn't that bad, is it? I just act a little spoiled sometimes, she whispered to him. I'm already this pretty. Having a little flaw is only normal, right? If I were rich, beautiful, and had a great personality on top of that, how unfair would that be? Afraid of waking him up, she made sure to speak very softly. However, the person who was supposed to be asleep couldn't seem to hold it in and let out a soft chuckle. She jolted in surprise. Carter, were you eavesdropping? I wasn't eavesdropping. He opened his eyes and looked at her. I just happened to wake up. Did something happen recently? Carter continued to ask her. Who said you have a bad temper? Chloe didn't know how to explain it to him, so she was forced to change the subject. Why is there still half a bottle of IV fluid left? My butt hurts from sitting so long. Carter reached out, intending to adjust the flow rate to make it faster. Chloe hastily stopped him. Don't do that! In that case, Carter scooted over to one side and used his free hand to pat the empty space next to him on the bed. Do you want to lie down for a bit? That's not very appropriate, is it? Chloe feigned hesitation. We aren't even married yet. Isn't this level of intimacy a bit much? Although they were engaged, they still slept separately. She slept in the master bedroom, and he slept in the guest room. His expression remained nonchalant. Special circumstances call for special measures. She thought his words made a lot of sense, so she lay down next to him. Perhaps it was getting late, as she suddenly felt a bit sleepy and let out a yawn. I'll just take a quick nap first, she instructed him. Keep an eye on the IV bottle yourself. Once it's done, let's hurry home. I don't want to stay in the hospital. The smell of disinfectant is awful. Carter pulled his blanket tight and covered her with it. All right. She had originally only planned to take a short nap, but perhaps having Carter beside her made her feel completely at ease, and without realizing it, she fell into a deep sleep. In her dazed state, she felt him pick her up. She let out a soft groan of discomfort, and Carter immediately soothed her. We're going home. She was carried by him to the car, and then from the car to the large bed at home. It was hard to tell who the actual patient was anymore. Half asleep and half awake, she felt a soft, gentle touch on her forehead. She thought she heard Carter's voice. Carter recovered very quickly. On the day he fully recovered, the handbag also arrived after traveling thousands of miles. Finally, getting the bag of her dreams, Chloe showed mercy and officially forgave Carter. She planned to carry this bag and accompany him to an evening banquet. Honestly, she didn't even know who was attending this party. It was just that Carter had earnestly invited her to go with him, and since she was in a good mood, she generously agreed. However, as enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road, she bumped into Kelsey. At the time, Carter had to go socialize elsewhere, and feeling tired, Chloe found a place to rest instead of going with him. She had just eaten a macaron when she saw Kelsey walking over, holding a glass of champagne. When their eyes met, both of them had an expression like they had just seen a ghost. But Kelsey was clearly a bit more punchable than she was. She just walked right up and greeted Chloe in an obnoxious tone. Oh, what a coincidence. What coincidence? Chloe glared at her. Why are you always hovering around me? Don't tell me you're secretly in love with me. Or are you secretly in love with my fiancé? There should be a limit to your narcissism, Kelsey said, exasperated. And as for Carter, with such great qualifications, he could find any well-bred young lady. He must have a screw loose in his head to involve himself with you and ask for suffering. Chloe let out a cold laugh. What? Are you jealous because my fiancé is so outstanding? Could it be that because Carter rejected you before, you've been holding a grudge? Kelsey refused to back down. Jealous, my foot. The guy I have my eyes on is no less impressive than Carter. Chloe put on a look of disbelief. You don't believe me? Fine, let me show you. Kelsey tilted her chin toward a spot not far away. See that guy over there? The young master of the Bradley family who just returned from abroad? We've known each other since we were little. I'm definitely going to win him over. Chloe looked in the direction she was pointing. Chloe saw a rather tall man. She could only say he looked decent, but in her eyes, he didn't compare to Carter at all. Thinking this, she said bluntly, just him? Carter is way handsomer than he is. Kelsey gave her a look of utter contempt. You love brains, stay away from me. It's for the best that you don't find him attractive. I was actually worried you'd try to steal Brandon from me. Hearing that name, Chloe's pupils dilated in shock. Brandon? Brandon? Wasn't that the name of the male lead? In the original plot from her nightmare, she had been blindly possessed, going as far as hurting Carter for this guy's sake. The enemy who would ruin her happy life had appeared. Alarm bells rang furiously in her head. Figuring that knowing the enemy is half the battle, she yanked Kelsey back and demanded to know more about him. Tell me more about him. Kelsey's face filled with suspicion. Why are you asking? Before Chloe could make up an excuse, Kelsey's expression shifted, a sly grin spreading across her face. Oh wow, are you that interested in Brandon? Don't tell me it's love at first sight and you're planning to compete with me? Give me a break. Is she insane? Gross. What bad luck, Chloe thought. Just as she was about to snap back, a strong arm suddenly wrapped around her shoulders. Carter looked down at her with a half smile. What are you two chatting about? Chloe looked at the smug grin on Kelsey's face and instantly understood. Kelsey, you absolute brat. Kelsey quickly slipped away. You two enjoy yourselves? I'll take my leave. Chloe wanted to chase after her and give her a beating, but Carter held her back. Chloe. She felt a bit guilty, but still forced herself to act aggressive. What? Why aren't you saying anything and just staring at me? No way, you actually believe what Kelsey said? She punched him. If you believe her that much, go get engaged to her instead. I don't believe her, Carter said, quietly taking her punch and grabbing her hand. I just lack a bit of security, that's all. He looked so pathetic that Chloe thought about it for a moment, then dragged him out to the hallway into a secluded corner. Carter was confused. What is it? She tugged on his tie, forcing him to lean down toward her, then stood on her tiptoes and planted a kiss on his cheek. Once done, she pretended to be casual. That's your reward. Happy now? Happy. He finally smiled. Can I have another reward? Chloe felt he was really pushing his luck, but since she was in a good mood, she decided to grant him another one. However, before she could even step closer, a sudden commotion erupted from a private room in the distance, sounding like an argument. Naturally loving a good drama, she completely abandoned Carter and ran toward the room, intending to give him his reward later. There were 5 or 6 people inside the room. When Chloe arrived, Kelsey was pointing right in a girl's face. How much longer do you plan on clinging to boyfriend? Honey, you broke up ages ago. Are you still not done with this? The girl looked miserable. Brandon stood next to Kelsey, his expression cold as he glanced at the bottle of liquor on the table. Drink it all, and I'll lend you the $300,000 for your brother's medical bills. As if making up her mind, the girl picked up the bottle and poured it down her throat. But the liquor was probably too strong. After just one gulp, she choked and coughed violently, the alcohol spilling out and staining her white shirt. Chloe couldn't stand it anymore. She pushed the door open and walked in. What do you think you're doing? Are you people insane? She held out her hand toward Carter. He instantly understood, taking off his suit jacket and placing it in her hand. Taking the jacket, Chloe draped it over the girl, covering her wine-soaked shirt. Stop drinking. Isn't it just $300,000? I'll lend it to you. Kelsey chimed in. Chloe, don't stick your nose into other people's business. Chloe looked at Kelsey in indignation, thinking, good heavens, she is the real wicked supporting character. What kind of wicked supporting character am I supposed to be? I'm just a little spoiled. I'm so wronged. The girl's eyes were red as she thanked Chloe. Thank you. She then looked at Carter. Thank you, Mr. Sterling. Carter waved his hand. Just thanking her is enough. Chloe was confused. Do you two know each other? The girl nodded. My name is Summer. I'm an employee at the Sterling Group. Chloe suffered her second shock of the night. Summer? Summer? Wasn't she the female lead? This was just great. There were only so many people in this room, yet the male lead, the female lead, the supporting male lead, and the supporting female lead were all gathered here. Chloe was completely speechless. It was a complete and utter mess. Should she just take them all out while it was this chaotic? She looked at Carter's suit jacket that she had just draped over Summer and shuddered. No way. She hurriedly said to a young man in the private room, Hey, take off your jacket and give it to me. Even though he didn't understand what was going on, he still took off his jacket and handed it to her. Without a moment of hesitation, Chloe snatched Carter's jacket right off Summer, tossed it aside, and replaced it with the young man's jacket. Everyone was dumbfounded by her series of actions. Kelsey was also stunned. What are you going crazy for? You're the one going crazy, Chloe scolded her. What are you competing with the female lead for? Competing with me on a normal day is enough. She then turned and scolded Brandon as well. Did you grow a mouth just to forget how to speak human words? She couldn't stand looking at those types of men acting all high and mighty. Then, she glared at the cannon fodder bystanders watching the drama. They weren't escaping the blame either. And all of you too. I don't know what you're blindly following every day, but if you have that much free time, go shovel manure at the edge of town. Chloe scolded one person after another. The entire room got a piece of her mind. In the end, it was Carter who forcefully pulled her away, apologizing to the room as they went. I'm so sorry, her temper is just like that. I can't hold her back. On the way to the parking lot, Chloe was still muttering curses. That was until Carter was about to open the car door for her. She suddenly stopped, looked at Carter, and then looked at Summer, whom she had been dragging along the whole way. She said to Carter, "Give me the car keys. I'll take her home. You catch a cab back by yourself." Carter froze. "Why?" "What do you mean, why?" Chloe thought. Carter needs to have as little contact with the female lead as possible. But she couldn't say that out loud, so she started being completely unreasonable. "You're still asking why. Don't you see there's a problem with yourself? I didn't say anything earlier because I wanted to save your face in front of outsiders. Go home and reflect on your actions." Carter had no other choice but to agree. "All right, just pay attention to safety and come back early." Chloe waved her hand, signaling for him to get lost quickly. After Carter left, Chloe drove Summer home. Summer kept thanking her. "Thank you. I will pay you back the money soon." "No rush," Chloe said. "If you ever need money in the future, just come to me. Don't go to that idiot Brandon and bring humiliation upon yourself." After saying that, Chloe hastily added, "And don't go looking for Carter either." Thinking about the fact that Summer still worked at the Sterling Group, the more Chloe thought about it, the more unsettled she felt. She spoke up again. "Do you want to come work at the Vance Group? I'll pay you a higher salary than the Sterling Group. That way, you can pay off your debt sooner. How about it?" Whether Summer paid off the debt or not wasn't important. The main thing was that Chloe did not want Carter and Summer running into each other. Summer's face was full of surprise. "I agree." "Thank you." She was very beautiful, like a resilient little white flower. The more Chloe thought about it, the angrier she got. Why did Brandon have to be the male lead? Couldn't the male lead be replaced? Could someone not survive without a male lead? So, she told her, "Summer, you don't necessarily have to love Brandon. What is there to be attached to in an idiot like him? Remember this. You are the female lead. Whoever you love is the male lead. You can love anyone you want." Summer didn't seem to fully understand, but she still nodded and said, "Okay." Chloe then hurriedly added one more sentence. "But you cannot love Carter." Summer was half understanding, half confused. "Then, can I loan? Or you?" Chloe felt something was a bit off. "Although that wasn't what I meant, sure, that's fine too. You can love someone else, or love no one at all. In short, if you run into any difficulties, just come to me." She nodded and asked again, "Why are you helping me?" "There's no why." Chloe winked at girls. Helping girls is just the natural order of things. The place Summer lived was further than Chloe had imagined. It took her 40 minutes of driving to get her home. The drive back would probably take another 40 minutes. It was late at night, and Chloe was feeling a bit sleepy. Coupled with the fact that she had just caused a huge scene that night, she didn't want to move a muscle now. She just wanted to lie in bed and rest. If only Carter could come pick me up, that would be so nice, she thought. But then she reconsidered. She was the one who had told him to go home first. Forcing him to come pick her up now seemed a bit too unreasonable, didn't it? The female lead had already appeared. It would be better for her to restrain herself a little. She was also too lazy to call a designated driver. When she saw the sign for a 5-star hotel nearby, she decided to just spend the night there. She parked the car in the lot and was about to go check in when Carter called her. "Chloe, are you almost home?" Carter asked. "Not yet," Chloe answered honestly. "Her house is too far, and I'm exhausted. I'm too lazy to drive back." Before she could even finish her sentence, Carter immediately interrupted. "Where are you? I'll come pick you up." If it were the past, she definitely wouldn't have hesitated to send her location right away. But now, completely going against her conscience, she said, "No need, no need." Carter seemed to freeze. He was silent for a few seconds before asking, "Then how are you getting back?" Chloe said it as a matter of fact. "I'm not going back. I'm staying at a hotel tonight." "A hotel?" Carter's voice suddenly became urgent. "Which hotel? I'm coming over right now." "Geez, I already told you there's no need." Before she could finish, he cut her off. Address. He rarely used this tone of voice with her. "I said I'm coming to pick you up. Just wait for me." Chloe found it really weird, but she still stood in the lobby waiting for him. In less than half an hour, Carter rushed in, panting slightly. After spotting her, he strode over and dropped to one knee in front of her. Chloe took a tissue and wiped the sweat from his forehead. "Why did you get here so fast?" He grabbed her hand. "I drove a bit fast. I was afraid you'd have to wait too long." "Didn't I already say you didn't need to come pick me up?" Chloe recalled what had just happened and expressed her dissatisfaction. "And another thing, were you just scolding me on the phone?" "I'm sorry. I was just in a hurry earlier." He apologized very quickly. "Let's go home, okay?" Chloe accepted his apology. "Let's go." During the whole drive home, Carter's mood didn't seem very good. After taking a shower, Chloe lay in bed. She was very sleepy, but she couldn't fall asleep no matter what. With her guiding principle being that she could only torture outsiders but absolutely never torture herself, she bounced out of bed and darted over to Carter's room. The lights in his room were already off. "Carter, are you asleep?" she asked, standing at the door and pushing it open a crack. "If you're asleep, just make a sound and I'll go back." "I'm not asleep." Carter turned on the light and walked over. "Why haven't you slept yet? Didn't you say you were sleepy?" Seeing that she wasn't wearing slippers again, he let out a sigh, scooped her up in his arms, and walked toward her room. Chloe wrapped her arms around his neck. "Carter, are you upset?" He paused, setting her down on the bed. "I'm not upset." "I don't believe you. I just sneezed a few times in a row." "Were you secretly bad-mouthing me in your head?" Carter didn't know whether to laugh or cry. "Bad-mouth you about what?" "Like, for example, saying my temper is bad." Chloe sneakily probed him. "Don't you think my temper has gotten a teeny tiny bit better lately?" Carter fell silent for a second. He asked her, "Did someone force you to change?" Chloe denied it. "Of course not. You don't need to change," he said seriously. "You're great just the way you are." She was just about to say she didn't believe him when Carter continued, "Chloe, no matter how capricious you are, I can bear it. The only thing I cannot bear is—" He paused for a moment and her breathing hitched along with it. "Is that you don't need me anymore." With the wedding approaching, Chloe felt extremely anxious. Summer brought over the 7th revised draft of the wedding plan. Chloe looked it over and shook her head. No. I feel like the main color palette should still be champagne gold. This one looks too dark now. But that was the plan from the very first draft." Summer broke down. "Didn't you say girls help girls?" Chloe threw out the ultimate power of money tactic, double year-end bonus. Summer's broken expression instantly smoothed over into pure calm. "Yes, boss. I'll go fix it right away." Nowadays, Summer's career was taking off, and the money she had borrowed from Chloe earlier had already been more than half paid off. Rumor had it that Brandon had sought her out previously to get back together, but she had rejected him. "Now, I just want to do my job well, and make lots of money." Summer typed rapidly on her keyboard. "Men only negatively affect my wealth." Chloe sent her a finger heart and then shooed her away. "You can go now. After you fix it at home, send me the 8th draft." There was no other reason for her rushing Summer out, except that Carter was about to come home. Chloe was still very vigilant, trying her absolute best not to let the two of them run into each other. Summer was already used to occasionally being kicked out unreasonably like this, so she grabbed her laptop and scurried off. A moment later, the doorbell rang. Chloe was still wondering why Carter would ring the doorbell. Opening the door, she saw it was Kelsey. She handed Chloe a Hermes bag. "Here. My parents told me to bring this over. It's a wedding gift." Chloe cautiously took a step back. "There isn't a bomb inside, is there?" Kelsey glared at her. "Take it or leave it." "Thanks." Only then did Chloe accept the gift bag, asking casually, "Are you still chasing after Brandon?" "I gave that up a long time ago." Kelsey unlocked her phone and found a photo of a young male star to show her. "Look, my new boyfriend. A total puppy dog, much more obedient than Brandon. What do you think? Handsome, right?" Chloe gave it a quick glance. "He's all right. Not as handsome as Carter." Kelsey looked completely speechless, then said rather bitterly, "But you're about to marry Carter soon. I'm still wondering how much longer he can put up with you." Chloe scoffed at her for jinxing it. "You've delivered the gift, so you can leave now. If you don't go, I'm going to sprinkle salt to chase you out." Fine. I'm leaving. All right?" Kelsey turned around and immediately bumped into Carter coming home. Carter greeted her politely. "Are you leaving already?" Kelsey nodded, then maliciously badmouthed Chloe again. "Carter, don't spoil Chloe too much. In the future, I'm afraid you'll be the only one in this world who can tolerate her temper. She's just taking advantage of you." Carter thought for a moment. "You've finished listing the pros. So what are the cons?" Kelsey rolled her eyes hard and stormed off. "Why are you talking so much to her?" Chloe asked in annoyance. "And why are you only back now? You're exactly 15 minutes later than the time you promised." Carter took out a dessert box. "I saw a newly opened bakery on the way home. It was quite crowded, so I had to wait in line for a bit." Chloe looked at the exquisite little cake in the box and swallowed hard. "All right then, I forgive you." However, after taking only 2 bites, she suddenly remembered that she still had to lose weight in preparation for the wedding. "Oh my God, I clearly have to lose weight." "Carter, how could you buy me cake when you know perfectly well I'm on a diet?" Chloe started causing unreasonable trouble again. "Are you a spy sent by Kelsey to stop me from outshining everyone at the wedding?" Carter wiped a smudge of cream off her mouth. "You're so thin. Taking 2 bites won't hurt." She refused to listen. What if I gain 3 pounds just from these 2 bites? Then what?" "It's fine," he said, looking at her. You are the prettiest girl, and I am the most handsome guy. The moment we show up, we'll outshine the entire wedding hall. Chloe froze, feeling that these words were very familiar. After thinking for a moment, she remembered that these were the exact same words they had said to each other back in high school. Back then, she had told him that she was the prettiest girl in school, he was the most handsome guy in school, so it was only natural for them to be prom dates. Carter, someone as thick-skinned as her, suddenly felt a bit shy. Actually, what I meant back then was, I'm the prettiest girl in school, and you're the most handsome guy in school. We are the most perfect match, a match made in heaven. Carter smiled and kissed her, saying, yeah, I think so too. Back in their high school days, Carter had a habit of writing down his daily tasks in a notebook, organizing everything clearly and logically. But at some point, a few bizarre items had started appearing on his to-do list. For example, helping Chloe beat the newest level in Candy Crush, or watering Chloe's pothos plant on a regular schedule. At first, he didn't find anything wrong with it. It seemed completely natural for him to accept all of Chloe's arrangements for him. That was until someone asked him, Carter, why do you always have to listen to Chloe? With her spoiled princess temper, you obviously don't need to put up with it. Thus, for the very first time, Carter began to wonder, why did he have to listen to Chloe? Before he could come up with an answer, he received a text from her. Carter, let me borrow your uniform jacket. Because he hadn't found an answer yet, he hesitated for a moment. But after that hesitation, he decided to follow his heart and bring the jacket to her. However, right at that moment, his homeroom teacher needed him for something, delaying him for 20 minutes. By the time he finally managed to get away from his teacher and arrived outside Chloe's classroom, he saw that she was already wearing another uniform jacket. She was standing there chatting with another classmate, laughing cheerfully. It was clearly a boy's jacket. Someone else spotted him and called out to her, Chloe, Carter is here looking for you. Chloe saw him, then noticed the jacket in his hand. She ran out looking a bit surprised. Didn't I send you a text? I don't need your jacket anymore. Why were you so slow? She complained softly. Good thing another nice classmate lent me his, otherwise I would have frozen to death. He didn't know which boy had lent her the jacket, but the baggy piece of clothing was an absolute eyesore to him. Carter's hands unconsciously clenched into fists. After a moment of thought, he said, you should still wear mine. Give the one you're wearing back to that classmate first. Chloe clearly felt it was unnecessary. Forget it, he's not wearing it anyway. Anyway, you can go back. I'm heading into class. With that, she turned back into the classroom. As soon as she walked in, a tall boy walked towards her, smiling at her, saying something Carter couldn't hear. Chloe seemed to be saying, good thing you brought your jacket. This damn weather, it drops in temperature the second it decides to. Watching their laughing figures from behind, Carter felt as if all the air around him had been sucked away, leaving him breathless. He finally had his answer, and he had made his decision. There were too many people lined up beside Chloe, and if he delayed even a little bit, he would be instantly replaced. It wasn't that Chloe needed him, it was that he needed Chloe.
Love that ending! Chloe dropping her ego to appreciate her guy and choosing kindness over toxic jealousy was amazing. When you ditch the drama, you truly become the main character of your own life.